Hello! Welcome to Bad at Board Games.
Well, he's bad at board games.
My name's Brad Blake.
And I'm Topher Ferguson.
And we're bad at board games, so you don't have to be. Today, we're going to be talking about
Empire's End.
We like it. Spoiler. Stick around, find out what our BGG rating is, what our value rating is, pros, cons, a little bit of, what we like about it and what we don't, and go from there. So,
yeah, how about I start off?
I think that's a good idea.
So, Empire's End is a 2023 game designed by John DeClaire, whom we found we do enjoy some of his games.
Yeah.
Haven't played them all, but we enjoy what we have played of his.
Dead Reckoning is one of my favorites.
Yes. And this one for me is coming up pretty close to that. So, yeah, so 2023 game. It's published by Brotherwise Games. They put out some pretty good games. Great pieces.
Yeah.
Like the box itself. It's good.
Yeah,
quality.
This is the smaller box, medium box, but I got the deluxe version at the Kickstarter, and it was reasonably priced Kickstarter, and really enjoying the components for the deluxe version.
Yes. I don't know what the other looks like. Well, I guess if we
I think it's just chips.
Cardboard chips.
Yeah, it's wood versus cardboard.
Yeah. The upgrades are cool. They're nice. But I think it plays well either way. So.
Yeah. So the theme, I kind of like to think of it as Pompeii, even though they haven't described it as Pompeii, but the end of your civilization, you're getting floods and you're getting disasters and, famine and all these things are happening. You have so many turns before the game ends, but, I kind of think of it like Rome, it almost makes me feel like it's a subset of Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel and kind of fits into that whole, timeline, even though it has nothing to do with any of those games. But, that's kind of how it makes me feel.
Yeah. Kind of like a Civilization Light, almost like a civilization building.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call this a civ builder at all.
No.
Any way, shape, or form. But in that era, Roman era, how you do.
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of civilization feels.
Yeah.
But it's not a civ game.
Nope. So what kind of mechanics do we have?
Yes. So this is a strategy game, and the biggest thing of it, the biggest mechanic is going to be the auction and bidding aspect of the game. So we've got a bit of an economic structure going on. We see actually economics pop up in a few different ways in the game, primarily with the bidding and the resource management that you have, but then also a little bit of a pseudo fighting. The battle in this game is definitely more on the resource management side than it would be actually like a combat. So we've got a bit of engine building as you're developing your civilization or managing the chaos that's coming. You've got action bidding, a little bit of economy, and really outside of that, just strategy.
And hidden resource.
So of course, it's right in front of me, hiding.
Yep.
So yeah, your resources are hidden, which is I found strikingly fun part of this game because I don't normally like that.
Yep. Player count. Now, we feel like this could be played. It is. We haven't played it solo. I'm not even sure. Yeah, this one's not a solo. It's 2 to 4. This can play at any player count. We've enjoyed it at 2, 3, 4. It's going to be more chaotic. 3 might be your favorite spot for this, but I think the more you're throwing in, it has 2 sides to the board. If you're a 2-player or then a 3 or 4-player, just adds a little bit more to the chaos. If you're playing with 3 or 4 people, you're not going to take half of the disasters that are coming out. You're going to have more people bidding, and you might not. That way, you may not. Hopefully, you're not the bottom of the barrel and having to take every disaster that comes out.
I was going to say maybe you will take more than half the disasters on higher player count.
Yeah, you hope not. But
they do mitigate as you get to the higher player count, though, as Brad mentioned, the 2-sided board, but also the amount of disasters that come out.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a pretty good job with player counts. Okay, so let's talk briefly about how the game is played. Brad, can you give us an overview of some of the gameplay?
Yep. So we have 1 phase per round, and that can be either disaster, military, industry, or economy. And you're going to have multiple rounds for the total game, right? But when you move the timeline, you're only going to have to worry about one thing. Income, you're going to look at your board and your tableau and collect income. Military, you're going to be looking and see who has the biggest military to be able to, and then you're going to bid those components for bonuses. How would you say this?
Yeah.
You're gonna get coins, you're gonna get victory points, you're gonna get something, but you're bidding during the military phase as well.
Yeah, it's almost, I thought of it as we were playing like trophies almost. Yeah. So it's not player elimination. It's not like that.
It's kind of seven. It makes me think of Seven 100%, Wonders. 100%. Where you're fighting each other, but you're not really losing anything in that sense. There's the disaster phase, which to me think is the meat and potatoes of this game. You're going to flip over one of these cards, and it's going to tell you a number, and kind of like Space Base, where you have cards laid out, the number 6 position is going to blow up one of your cards. And you're going to either want to take this because you may want to tuck and have this resource income later in the game, or you're going to want to bid against it. If it's destroying a very high victory point space that you want to have at the end of the game, because you get no victory points if they're flipped and destroyed, you may be like trying to throw all your resources at it so you don't destroy one of your areas that you really care about. But this is, to me, a lot of the fun of the game, where you're trying to avoid losing your expensive victory point areas and, pushing that off onto somebody else. But you're bidding on all that, and then if you have to take the disaster card, you will then get all the resources that everybody bid. So at least on the future rounds, you'll have something to be able to get, potentially not take the bad ones.
Yeah.
But that's essentially the game. And it plays fairly quickly, and it's just kind of, I like the fact that you're losing your engine as you're playing versus you're building your engine up. There's something about that I'm enjoying.
Yeah, I think they did a good job in terms of the disaster side of it. So somebody is going to have a disaster, and you flip your card over, but you can also save it. Mm-hmm. So later in the turn, you can pay to kind of get your slot back, and the engine that you're building up, kind of like Space Base. I think that's a good explanation of it. Those stay there. So when you save it, those benefits are still there, which is awesome. So it's a fun back and forth.
Yep. So what's a pro that you had about this game?
Yeah, I think for me, the pro that stands out as kind of the wow thing is I don't normally like action bidding. And we did a lot of it in our gameplay, and it was always fun. And it could be, especially Brad and I, when we're playing 2-player, we know each other well enough that we can kind of push each other. And Brad pulled a couple over on me, in terms of passing on a bid or bidding something light, or some of his special benefit cards. And then all of a sudden I'm taking damage or disaster, and I don't have many good resources with it because he was able to kind of plan it out. And I
was able to kind of hoard mine toward the end.
Both in physical resources, and some of the benefits on these disaster cards are slots that you can, kind of like in Space Base, put a cube to be able to get a benefit free resources that are not actually resources that I don't get if I have to take the damage. So that was, for me, that was fun. It's, again, I don't like action bidding usually. The anxiety in me, I don't know, it takes it to a not good fun level for me. But with this, it was like I looked forward to that moment of when the disasters are coming out, because it's just fun. Sorry, I'm doing two. It's also a pretty good engine builder. It is fun that play of, let me go ahead and take that disaster because, man, that benefit is good and it's going to come up for me in the future. Yep. So yeah, I gave you 2. Sorry.
No,
I'll let you do 2.
Well, I think the pro of mine, I like being able to see, because I'm more strategic. I can see 1 or 2 or 3 turns ahead what's going to happen. I need to focus on military because in 2 turns we're going to be bidding, to try to get some victory points for the military track, and I need to make sure I have axes. There's some of that I just enjoy that. And then, I lost an expensive victory point location at the beginning of the game, and then I was able to get enough resources throughout the back 2/3 of the game to be able to then flip that 20 or 30 point, I can't remember what it was, victory point tile back over, And then we'll have to look at the score and we'll come back and tell you. But like that brought me back into the game, right? Toph had this nice little engine with the cubes he was talking about. He saw something and was able to just keep monopolizing on it. But I was able to get my expensive locations back. And then I had enough resources to make sure that he had to lose his expensive resource at the end. So it really brought it into I really don't know who won now.
Yeah, I forget. I think I might have pulled out a victory. Yeah, you pull it up and I'm going to talk about the board real quick. I think I might have just pulled out a victory, but I might not have. Honestly, it did. I was kind of plowing ahead. Strategy is Brad's thing. And so I took it and I ran with it as best as I could. I was doing very well. And then all of a sudden it went right back to like balance. Like Brad was able to bring it back. And like Brad said, strategy, if you look at the board, you can see the different spaces and they are going to show you what is coming up and when. So you know exactly, you're not going to be kind of sidetracked or caught off guard with, oh, here comes military. I need to make sure I've got the tiles. Like, you know that you can plan it out. So for somebody who can do that well, I'm better in the moment. But if you're good at planning that out, you're going to find that this game probably comes pretty naturally to you.
Yes, I did win.
Oh, I thought maybe I did.
But that was the thing. Like, but at the same time, you don't have a track to tell you who's winning or who's not. Like how you're doing, you can kind of see the victory points on your locations. And then you're going to be adding up some end of game bonuses, but for the most part, you may feel like somebody else is winning or not. And you know, we both did well. I got 131, he got 111. So you're still like in that 10-15%, you know, range of points, which is still pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. You get some points throughout the game, like the military. When you have battle, you get a few little points here or there, but most of it, and you can see, like, I kept trying to count up Brad's like cities to see how he was doing, but you don't know. You just don't know because there's different ways to get points throughout the game. So, yeah.
Did you have any cons with it?
Honestly, I did not. What I thought, let me put it this way. What I thought going into the game would be my con was what I ended up liking. And that was the bidding and the disasters. I thought that part of the chaos would be my least favorite. Like in Seven Wonders, my least favorite part of Seven Wonders is when it comes to battle. There's nothing to it. There's not feeling of accomplishment. It's just, oh, I've got more than you do in terms of the numbers. But with this, you can beef it up with your axes. So even though I can see how many shields he has, I don't know what he's going to be able to bid, and the weighing off between using them at that time of battle versus bidding on the disaster. You know, you want those resources. So that's what I thought was going to be my big negative. I read the rules pretty quickly and we played like almost instantly.
What'd you think about reading the rules?
I thought they were good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if there was a moment where I was like, I just don't get this. There were a couple things that I did, Brad and I kind of talked through as I'm teaching and as I'm not really teaching, but I'm reading a section that I'm saying, okay, let's do this. And like that first game, we literally went to, okay, well, we've got income coming up, or, you know, this phase. Let me read what to do since we're now in that phase. And then we take that turn. And so we kind of build on it. And I thought it went well, and it didn't play as quickly as I thought it would, but it wasn't a long game. It was enjoyable.
I think they say, 45 to 60 minutes. And I would say with the teach, you know, we were probably a little bit longer than that, but we had to read. Toph was reading the rules and we were kind of learning as we went. But like subsequent, it was fine. This is a nice, if you're wanting a 1 hour or less, at least with two people, it's going to not be a problem at all.
Yeah. I would say if I had to come up with a con, and this is not a con, if I had to come up with one, it would be the scarcity of resources. And that is what this game is. It's an economic game, action bidding game, but that's a big part of it. So kind of scarce, but at the same time, you have coins that can be wild. You can kind of spend them to do other things. Like there's ways to make do, and it's not just one person that's hurting. We're both kind of in the same boat with it. And they have built in some things that, if you win a bid and you only have like 2 or 3 resources, you get a couple extra ones from the bank. So, I mean, they've got ways to mitigate, but I don't remember anything outside of that I would say was a negative. It can be hard to get enough points to flip these suckers back over when they burn.
Yeah. During the Kickstarter, I didn't, like Alex didn't say great things about it. He thought it was okay, but he didn't like losing his tableau, so to speak. I would say the Kickstarter, I backed it because I was interested in it. I felt like it wasn't getting a lot of traction. I liked it, and the price was great, even with the deluxe. And you get the game trays, easy to pull out, all those kind of things. I thought it was a really good deal at the time. So I wanted to back it, and I was kind of waiting, and it's not a con. I was expecting this, like, oh, we'll see, and then I've been just pleasantly surprised with the play. Now, like anything, is this a 50 or 60 play game? Probably not, but this is hey, we can play something pretty quickly. We enjoy the play. Let's pull this out, right? So
I can see this being something that, like, our gaming group, when we have larger groups, so we split up and have multiple tables playing, we could play a couple different games some nights if they're both on the shorter end. And this is one that I could easily see us playing when we're not doing something like Lisboa, Nucleum, any of these longer games.
Yeah.
So
it's hard for me to say that there's a con. I think I'm glad I got the deluxe. How's that? I probably would have been like, but if you're just wanting the gameplay, you don't need the deluxe. So
you really don't. It does look nice. I will say the game trays, I don't know if they're game trays brand, but these are awesome the way they organize the box, because it's like, this is one player, like everything you need. So like they did really good jobs with, putting it all together. It's brother-wise, they did a pretty good job. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what's the weight rating? What do you think the weight rating is, and what does BGG say the weight rating is?
Yeah, my initial thought of the game was somewhere like a 2.25. I think having played it, now maybe I'm being biased because I'm not a very strategic player so much as tactical player. I felt like it was a little bit higher in terms of mitigating the economic resource management side. So I was in the play time thinking something like 2.5. BGG is saying 2.38, I believe is what they're saying, 2.3 to 2.4. So it's kind of right on par with what I was thinking. Initially, I thought it was going to be a lot easier, but there's actually, when the chaos comes, you got to be strategic. You got to play it. You got to build an engine. So yeah, mitigating all that, I'd say somewhere around 2.4. Not quite 2.5. 2.5 is Castles, right?
No, 3.
Castles is a 3. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's definitely nothing like Castles of Burgundy. So yeah, maybe about 2.4, 2.5.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think this is in 2.5 and under, but it's not a 2. So
definitely not
for what it's worth.
Yeah. Okay. What about the value?
On Miniature Market, you can get this for about $28. You can still get it directly from Brother Wise Games for like $35. Retails around $40, but that is without the wooden components. I have seen this like at $120 because you're not going to get a lot of the deluxe ones, or they're not readily available. But check Brother Wise Games to see if they have a deluxe version. If you're interested, it's not going to change your gameplay at all, but it is a little bit nicer components, and some people like that. But for $28, my value rating, if this were like $5, I guess, I would say this is a value of 5. If this were $50 or $100, I would say this is a value of 1. But sitting at $28, I think this is a great value. I really enjoyed the game. I want to say this is like a 4.5, 5. Like, I have one of my favorite games is Blitzkrieg. That was a filler game at, that's $25, $30 price range, and Caesar. This isn't a filler game. This is a full-fledged, flushed out game. It's enjoyable. And so, honestly, it's a 5. Yeah. I think this, for $28, I haven't seen a $28 game in forever, unless it's something, basic at Target or Walmart. So, this is a hobbyist game by a good designer. I really, really think it's a great deal at $5.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah. Moving on, our BGG rating, Mr. Toph.
Yes.
Where are you landing on this?
So this is a 7.5. I like the house. But 7.5. It's not quite a 7. It's not quite an 8. But for now, maybe I'll get tired of it eventually. But for now, easily 7.5.
Yeah. I think, and I'll say newness factor, I'm going to say this is an 8. I have enjoyed it. I enjoyed it exceeded my expectations, which is going to make it better, right? Now, where will it land? After we've played it a few more times, and like, where will it end in my top 100? It's probably not going to be. Maybe it'll make the top 100 when I'm doing this list that we're coming up on. But is it going to be on the high end? It's probably not going to be in the top 50. But it's just a good game. I've enjoyed it. I would pick it over other games, especially in that 45-minute to 60-minute range, for sure.
Right.
So
you have me wondering if it's in my top 100. I sorted my top 100 games.
You can't tell them now, though.
I'm not going to tell them. I'm just curious. Sorry, ADD mind. I want to know. But
so, what do you think? Is this something that interests you? I know it. Like I said, it didn't get a lot of love when it kickstarted, but I enjoyed the tightness. I enjoyed the, like Fall of Atlantis. The island is falling away from you, kind of games, and it's making it tougher. And you can, how do you manage that? How do you look at the board, and how do you, make sure you have enough for the military phase coming up or the income phase coming up? Or, do I care about the next disaster? And trying to, adjust to whatever that disaster is, because it's constantly changing.
I think what makes me excited about this game, and this is just because we are friends, I know you well enough. Brad talked about this when he kickstarted it, then it didn't come, and finally it did come, and it was like, hey, you want to learn this one? Like, yeah, sure. And Brad and I play quite a number of games 2-player, and we both have really enjoyed, when we've played it, Seven Wonders Duel. Brad does not care for Seven Wonders so much, but Seven Wonders Duel, I think you really did enjoy.
Oh, I like Seven Wonders Duel.
But this, I think, for you, is a much better version of Seven Wonders Duel. I think if the enjoyment that I saw in you as we were playing it seemed like it was a lot more than when we've played Seven Wonders Duel. I don't know where it would fall with me between the two, but I think for me, this was a shocking find for you. I think you enjoyed it a lot more than you thought you
did. Yeah, it exceeded my expectations. I really did enjoy it.
But let us know what you think about this game or about others, or are we just completely missing the mark, or is it true? My name's Topher, and I'm bad at
because he lost.
I think I lose to Seven Wonders Duel.
I don't know. You kicked the crap out of me on Renature, and that review is coming up next.
I did. I destroyed your house.
Yes, you did. So just remember, no matter how you play, whether it's solo, with family, or friends,
enjoy whatever games you are bringing to the table.
Have a great night.